Welcome to BitBoy Crypto. My name is AJ and this is the price prediction department. In this video, I'm going to cover a coin that is one of the most polarizing layer 1 projects in all of crypto, and that project is no other than Solana. Let's get it. Love it or hate it, Solana has earned its spot in the top 10 of crypto because of its high speed, low cost, and its throughput, or the number of transactions per second. According to their white paper, theoretically, it can handle up to 710,000 transactions per second. In testing, it can handle around 65,000 transactions per second. And in the real world, it generally fluctuates between 2,000 to 5,000 based off of network activity. This is all made possible thanks to their unique hybrid consensus mechanism that is a combination of proof of history and proof of stake. For those of you who don't know, proof of history allows Solana to create a verifiable timestamp when each transaction took place on the blockchain. This allows them to parallel process their transactions, which is a big help to the network's throughput. There are also rumblings about the throughput going even higher in the future. But without getting too far into the weeds, my point is that it costs way less than 1 penny to send a Solana transaction. And with a time of finality of less than 5 seconds, you can easily see why some people go as far to call Solana an Ethereum killer. Sure, some people might call it that, but last year, all of Solana's outages caused an outrage. Now, some people might even say that Solana is the Solana killer, but I don't think it's that bad. But yeah, their reputation took a pretty serious hit. Don't get me wrong, I'm not against Solana. Look, this one has so much VC support, it will definitely pump in the bull market, but I want to keep it honest, unbiased, and point out both sides of the fence. So as of now, Solana has gone down a total of 10 times. Like, imagine if Venmo or Wells Fargo went down 10 times in the span of 2 years. I mean, that's some scary stuff. And I don't mean it went offline and came right back on. Some of these outages lasted a few hours, and some of them lasted 20 to 29 hours. It's unfortunate because it hurts Solana in more ways than one. Take a look at this chart here. It's evident that this hit to their reputation significantly hurt how much value they're actually moving on the chain. To be fair, it hasn't gone down since the last outage in February, and for their sake, let's hope they have it figured out. Another issue people have is that Solana claims to be decentralized. So, is Solana decentralized? Is it? Is it? Well, to be fair, decentralization is a spectrum, and where they lay on that spectrum is the real question. Understand that it's not a yes or no type of answer. Let's look into it. According to SolanaBeach.io, Solana has 1,985 validators and 862 RPC nodes. For a comparison, Ethereum has over 700,000 validators. Yeah, Ethereum has the first mover advantage, but this is probably because of some of the costs going into getting up and running. And I don't mean for the crypto, I mean for the hardware. Some of you might even remember this thread from SBF from back in 2020. He's saying that you can run an Ethereum node on a laptop, while Solana, on the other hand, requires a more expensive high-performance desktop. Another problem they're having, according to this really interesting article from disruptionbanking.com, I will link it in the description below, is that a third of Solana's top validators own over 35% of the stake. Because of this, they have control over how Solana evolves and they can influence its value. Also, since they have more than a third of the ownership, they have the ability to suspend the blockchain, which explains some of the outages. To be clear, they didn't just shut it off maliciously. It was for a good reason. But the fact they can do this is a little scary. Also, look at their initial token allocation compared to Cardano's on this chart here. The red part of the pie is the insiders and the blue part is for the public. When you look at it like this, it's almost laughable. These are two blockchains that both claim to be decentralized. Can you see the difference where each of them might lay on the spectrum? I mean, this is not the best look for them. And it's so bad a California resident, Mark Young, filed a lawsuit against Solana, basically saying that it's an unregistered security and that Solana favors the insiders at the expense of the investors. Unregistered securities? I wonder what Gary has to say about this. Let me give him a call. You know, Solana has a phone too, but I'd rather use this one. What's his number again? 666. It's ringing. Gary, dude, what do you think about Solana? He hung up on me. Listen, it's not all that bad with Solana. I don't want the reception of this video taken the wrong way, but you all know I always play the devil's advocate. Like I said in the beginning, there's a reason Solana is a top 10 crypto. They have insane backing from VCs, and that is always a good thing, especially if you were scooping up this project at the low prices it's at right now. I mean, Solana has some serious integrations. I'm talking Circle, Discord, Meta, Stripe, and more recently, Shopify and Visa. The Visa partnership is massive news, by the way, and they will be launching stablecoin payments on Solana. So they must have more faith in Solana than some of the sentiment I see on the internet. Also, Solana is really big on being carbon neutral and climate focused, and we all know how big of a deal that is when it comes to getting big partnerships. It's optics, but optics matter. I also want to be fair and point out that the decentralization argument goes both ways. Some people will argue that Solana's Nakamoto coefficient is higher than Ethereum's. For those of you that don't know, according to superoracles.com, the Nakamoto coefficient is a measure of decentralization based off the minimum number of validators or nodes that would need to agree to prevent a blockchain from operating correctly. With all that said, let's look into the tokenomics and get into the price prediction. Remember, the equation for price prediction is price equals market cap divided by circulating supply. And sometimes figuring out what the supply will be is not at all an easy thing to do, especially with coins like Solana. Remember how last week I told you about token.unlocks? Well, sometimes these sites are not exactly 100% accurate. This chart here says that its circulating supply is already over 1 billion. And we know that's not true. It's only 408.9 million. Even the supply charts on CoinGecko are sort of wrong. According to this one, the supply would almost be 600 million by now. Well, to be fair, the total supply is 556.7 million, but that's not helping us for what we're looking for. My point is sometimes you have to do your own homework to estimate a number. To be honest, Solana's supply situation is somewhat shrouded in mystery. So what's the deal? Like I said, currently the circulating supply is 408.9 million, but the total supply is 556.7 million. That's about 26% of the supply. And when will those coins enter the circulation? And that's a known unknown. I found this really interesting article on goblincrypto.com, and it's a little over a year old, but I still want to read this part. Trust me, it's worth your time. At Solana's inception, 95 million tokens were allocated to the foundation. As of July 22, it wasn't entirely clear how many the foundation had retained. Foundation representatives have been cagey about the issue, and they did not immediately respond to a request for comment from Goblin Crypto. The foundation claimed that in May of 2020 that it burned 11.3 million tokens, but a subsequent audit found that it only burned 8 million while dumping the other 3.3 million on the market. As we noted, as of July 22, the Solana Foundation held somewhere around 80 million tokens. Another 30 million were allocated to the network's founders at birth. While those numbers are included in its circulating supply, it isn't clear how many of those 110 plus million tokens, which are worth more than 20% of Solana supply, will be unleashed on an unsuspecting market in the future. With all that said, there's about 26% of the supply held by all those early backers and the team, and we don't know when they will get dumped onto the market. That is a factor that is more than fair to worry about. So what about the rest of the supply? So Solana's initial inflation rate was 8% with a 15% disinflation rate that acts as an annual taper. Once it tapers down to 1.5%, it will stay there. Know that this taper is not 15% a year, that's 15% every epoch year, or every 180 epochs, where each one varies between 2.5 to 3.5 days based off network activities. So every 450 to 630 days, the inflation rate will drop 15%. Currently, the rate is 6%, and as of today, we're on Epoch 500, where Epoch 540 will be the completion of an epoch year. So we're looking at a 15% taper on 6% inflation in the next 100 to 140 days. At that point, the inflation rate will be 5.1%. Also, Solana burns 50% of its fees, where the other 50% goes to the validators. Yes, Solana's transaction costs are 0.00025 of a penny, but look at how many transactions they do every day. And of course, that also fluctuates over time. Here's a chart of the proposed inflation schedule, and here's another chart of the total supply over time. And on these charts, we're right around the 2-year mark because the total supply is 556 million and the current inflation is 6%. Also, to anyone who stakes Solana, here's a chart of staking yield, which will go down significantly over the next 8 years. So here's my estimation for the circulating supply for the top of the next bull run. Keep in mind, with my calculation, it's nearly impossible to take into account the locked Solana, which can get dumped onto the market at any time, and we don't know when that will happen. Considering the projected top, based off the Bitcoin halving cycle, is November of 2025, and that is about 25 months from now. My guess is that the circulating supply will be in the ballpark of 455 million tokens. That's about an 11% increase of the circulating supply right now. Look, I know that was a lot of math for an 11% increase, but that's why I do what I do, so you don't have to. So Solana put in its all-time high November 6, 21 of $260. At the time, its market cap was $77.4 billion and its supply was $302.5 million. Right now, Solana is right around $20 with a market cap of $8.2 billion. Unfortunately, its market cap has fallen 89% since the previous all-time high. Solana's supply is 408.8 million, which is a 35% gain in the past 22 months. For example, if Solana went back to its current all-time high market cap with its current supply, it would only be worth about $189. Anytime there's a big jump in the supply, the market cap always has to play catch up and chase it up the hill. So what website do I use to run these numbers, by the way? This website is called thecoinperspective.com. It's the perfect site for moon math. And just for fun, if Bitcoin had Solana's market cap, it would only be worth $427. I mean, one, that just goes to show how massive Bitcoin is, but also this website is a great tool to really put things in perspective. And I really hope you use it moving forward. So we've already determined the denominator for this price prediction, estimating that the circulating supply will be around 455 million as long as the VCs and the early backers don't dump the locked Solana onto the market. But what about the market cap? A lot of you know that I like to use dominance as a gauge to see what is possible with market caps. It's not necessarily like the law to go off of, but I use it as a guideline and it really helps me find a good range. If this is your first time watching one of my price prediction videos, let me fill you in on how I use dominance as a gauge. Last bull run, the total crypto market cap, if you added every crypto up and into one, that number was around $3 trillion. This idea is that if the total crypto market cap went to $7 to $10 trillion next bull run, if these coins, achieved previous dominance levels, obviously their market caps would be much higher. And if you look at this chart here, you will see that Solana's current dominance level is relevant because it is sitting at a crucial support resistance line from way back in May of 21 before the big run up. That level is at 0.8%. And if the total market cap of all of crypto was at $7 trillion and Solana was able to hold this dominance level, Solana's market cap would be $56 billion, leading to a $123 Solana. So if Solana regained that same 0.8% dominance level and the total crypto market cap went to $10 trillion, that would have Solana at an $80 billion market cap and the price would be $175. That's a much lower dominance level, but if you run the numbers of Solana's dominance when it was at its peak back at its all-time high, this is when things get interesting. Its all-time high dominance was about 2.87%. That means that out of the entire crypto market cap, 2.87% of it was Solana. If the total crypto market cap went up to $7 trillion and Solana regained that previous all-time high dominance level, its market cap would be $201.2 billion and its price would be $441. In the same situation and the total cap went to $10 trillion, Solana would have a $287 billion market cap and its price would be $630. Like I said, I like to use dominance as a gauge to see what's possible, and it's not a law, it's more like a guideline. And in this instance, I think the truth is probably somewhere in the middle. Listen, I know a lot of people don't really have nice things to say about Solana, and considering all the ups and downs, at the end of the day, Solana is a coin that is going to continue to land these massive partnerships, and it has that insane VC backing that many other projects wish they had. Because of that, I feel like this one is destined to pump. And my Solana price prediction for the top of the next bull run is $250 to $350, where $350 is a 17x. Remember, this price prediction is based off of if the locked Solana stays locked. Hypothetically speaking, let's say that the VCs do dump all that locked Solana. That would move the supply up to a little over 600 million. In that case, I'm thinking somewhere between $188 to $264, where 264 is a 13x. Also, even if you just look at a normal chart of Solana, you can see that this entire time it's just been in an ongoing uptrend. If it respects that uptrend and follows it all the way to November of 2025, that point of intersection is still $167, so that would be like the very minimum. But with the locked coins, it is really hard to determine when they will come, and I honestly feel like they are probably waiting for the right time to put those coins onto the market. So at the end of the day, I'm going to stick with the price prediction of 250 to 350, and let's hope for the best. Boom, there you go. There is my Solana price prediction. What did you think? Am I being way too bullish or am I being far too conservative? I know some people think Solana can hit $1,000. Let me know what you think down below in the comments. With that said, my name is AJ Writes Crypto, and have yourself a great rest of your weekend. Later.